Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
What's your name?
Joseph Thomas.
And do you from time to time go by JD?
Yes, always.
Mr. Thomas, are you employed?
I own my own company, Forensic Consulting Services.
What does that company do?
Basically, we review and analyze crime scenes, do crime scene reconstruction, bloodstain pattern analysis, bullet trajectory, all sorts of things involving mostly homicides.
Okay. And I guess, is there a subsequent component to that once you do all sorts of those analyses? Do you do anything with that information?
That really depends on the attorney, whether he wants a report or he or she wants a report or just consult. It's basically whatever the attorney needs.
Okay. And how does one come to be so employed? What's your professional background?
I was a police detective in Virginia in the forensic science section. I've been doing forensics now for a little over 39 years, and I have a little over 4,700 hours of training. Member of the International Association for Identification, International Bloodstain Pattern Association, medical investigator for the Florida Emergency Mortuary Operations Response System.
You know, it's not relevant, so I'm not going to ask any more about that, but I am curious. Please go on.
Really, you should. And I mean, if you want to know how I got my start, it was back when I was in the Navy and assigned in Roosevelt Roads, Puerto Rico at the Naval Station. In November of 1978, got a call that we had an aircraft coming in from a place called Jonestown, Guyana. And for the next 10 days, we had over 100 aircraft, and we were the way it was written was humanitarian relief for deceased American citizens at the People's Temple in Jonestown, Guyana.
Okay. Again, another thing about which I'd like to inquire further, but I will endeavor to keep it relevant. So, I guess, with all of that background and being so employed, did you ever come to be involved in the Mark Sievers case?
I did.
Okay. And was that for the state of Florida, or was that for the defense?
For the defense.
And I guess prior to your formal involvement in the case, what was your relative level of awareness of the incident?
You mean prior to?
Yes, sir.
Nothing.
Okay.
Hadn't heard about it.
You hadn't, I guess, read about it in the paper, hadn't heard about it in the news?
No, I'm 3 hours north, so I hadn't heard a thing about it.
Okay. Still in the state of Florida?
Yes.
Okay.
Tampa Bay.
Okay. And so, being involved in the defense, were you initially contacted by someone from Mr. Sievers' defense team and asked about your services and brought it that way, or how would you describe the way you first became involved?
Yes, I was contacted by someone in his office.
Okay. And subsequent to that contact, I guess they decided that they would use your services?
Yes.
Okay. And I guess, how does that work with respect to how the court treats you? Are you appointed? Is there any sort of recognition that way in the record?
In a case like this, it goes through the JAC, Justice Administrative Commission. They basically file a motion with the JAC. The JAC signs off on it. It then goes to the judge for the order. And once the judge signs the order, it's done.
Okay. When you say they file a motion, is that the party who is retaining your
whoever
services?
has contacted me, whoever wants to hire me.
Okay. And so your, I guess, work with the defense team, I guess, how would you characterize the level of your involvement with the defense team?
In this case,
Yes, sir.
I had one phone conference with Mr. Mummert and his paralegal at the time. Everything else was through email between myself and his paralegal.
Okay. And off the top of your head, do you know the date on which the order was filed by the court, kind of codifying your involvement in the case?
September 12th.
Okay. And do you, I guess, file normal invoices with the JAC, or do you, I guess, provide them with anything that essentially reflects the duration of your involvement in the case, or your active involvement?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And do you remember when your final billing entry was for the JAC?
It was September 24th, 2019.
So I guess in total, is that about 12 days?
Well, there was a difference between when the order was signed and when I got the parts of discovery that was emailed to me via Dropbox.
Okay.
So I didn't get those till September 15th. So I didn't begin till September 16th.
Okay. So I guess an association for about 12 days and about 8 days worth of substantive work. Is that accurate
Yes,
to say?
sir.
Okay. And in those 8 days, roughly how much time was dedicated to investigating this case?
I can tell you exactly if I can refer back to an invoice.
If that will refresh your recollection, yes, sir.
$47.2 hours.
Okay. And in those 47.2 hours, I know that you had that initial 45-minute conversation with the first chair and his assistant. Was there any more time from those 40-some-odd hours that were dedicated to actively collaborating with the defense team and preparing them for how they would use and examine the evidence?
No.
Okay. Let's talk about the rest of those hours then. The rest of those hours, what were they spent doing?
There were a total of 2,284 crime scene photos that I had to review.
Okay.
I got the deposition from the medical examiner, the deposition from the crime scene technician that worked the scene, the crime scene report done by the same crime scene tech, and then the deposition of, well, take that back. I was provided notes that were taken after the deposition of Mr. Wright. I didn't get the deposition itself, just notes that were taken during that. And then the deposition of Detective Downs, the FBI lab reports, discovery index, depot of Detective Lebed, and then the review and documentation of the deposition of Detective Downs.
Okay. Now, when you say that you received a deposition, is that a transcript of the deposition testimony?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so you were provided these various pieces of discovery. How did you receive that?
Dropbox.
Dropbox. So it was emailed to you?
Correct.
And you were
Now the depot of the medical examiner and the documentation of the notes from Mr. Wright's deposition were emailed directly as an attachment. They were not in Dropbox.
Okay. During your involvement in this case, did you ever have to go to the law office from which the defense team was working to review hard copies of any discovery?
No.
Okay. They provided everything that you needed to see in digital format. Or rather, they provided you everything that you saw in digital format.
Yes.
Okay. Now, besides kind of reviewing evidence and providing any conclusions from that you're able to draw, can you assist a defense team in any other capacity within the scope of your training and experience?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I guess could you provide an example of that?
Typically, we review the theory of the case that is going to be presented, and then based on the evidence, and we see if there's any other plausible explanation for what was where and why it was there and how it got there. Assist in writing questions for depositions, and also for cross-examination for trial.
Okay. So if you have an attorney who's not terribly familiar with the mechanics of physical trauma to an individual, you could assist in kind of lending your expertise
Yes, sir.
to information to help them understand it better, maybe craft better examination questions.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Your Honor, I apologize. There is an issue with Mr. Sievers' hearing device. If we could just take a 2-second break, see if we could work out this chirping noise.
Take a 2-minute recess to give you time.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you much.
So you can stay there or get up, whatever you prefer.
I'm not sure. I'll go after.
Okay.
I apologize.
Have you guys resolved the issue then?
I believe we have for now.
Okay. We have another unit too if we need to use it, switch it out, right? Okay. We can try that if it keeps going on. That's all right. It's not your fault.
Your Honor, she's just out in the lobby speaking to a witness. She'll be in a moment, but I think we can proceed if Your Honor's okay with that.
What if I'm not?
You're all right with that,
Mr.
Ms.
Lobianco is okay with that.
I apologize. We're ready to proceed.
You're all right with proceeding without one of your attorneys present, Mr. Sievers?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. So, I believe we were talking about different ways in which you can provide assistance to the defense beyond simply analyzing discovery provided. And I guess just to confirm, beyond your analysis of the discovery provided, was there any other capacity in which you asked to or in fact did assist the defense in preparation for this case?
Again, like I said, it's consulting with for other plausible explanations, drafting questions for cross-examination.
And I understand that those are ways that you can help. Were there any of those ways in which you did actually help the defense or were asked to help the defense?
In this case?
Yes, sir.
No.
Okay. And one important thing is, could you have provided such assistance if it was requested? Were you available at that time?
Initially, I was told the trial was going to be October 1st.
Yes, sir.
And then they asked for a hearing. The hearing was denied. Then the last I heard, they were going to file another motion for another hearing, and that's the last I heard. I couldn't even tell you when the trial began. But at that time, I was available.
Okay. I guess, did you ever become aware of the, obviously, but when and how did you become aware of the results of the State of Florida versus Mark Sievers trial?
Probably, as far as Mr. Sievers go, probably on the news, because when I go to close out a case, I'll go into the court docket screen, and that's when I saw that the trial had been done over and he'd been convicted, so that's when I closed it. As far as the other two, I don't think I found that out until probably last year.
Okay. So the defense team never corresponded with you either by phone or by email to advise you that you either were not needed or your role in their defense was over?
No.
Okay. Now, I guess, what is your understanding of
Excuse me, let me back up a minute. I did get an email in December from Mr. Mummert's paralegal in reference to assisting them on another case. And in that email, she mentioned that that the trial had been done and that Mr. Sievers had been convicted. So I did find that out in December of that same year.
Okay, thank you, sir. So when you are brought on to the case, what is your understanding of the specific, thrust of your investigation? What is it you understood you were going to have to do for defense?
Just, again, just review the scene, review the bloodstains, and then, the depositions and the crime scene reports.
Okay. Well, did the defense have, or did they express to you any theory that they wanted you to either, support or refute?
The only thing that I was made aware of is that during that time, Mr. Sievers was not present. He was still out of state.
Okay. And so I guess, how did they want that information to be contemplated in your analysis of the crime scene?
That's something I don't ask.
Okay.
And they didn't give to me because I didn't want it.
Okay. All right. And was there anything else that they wanted you to render an opinion on regarding the appearance of the crime scene?
No, like I said, we never had another discussion about it. And that first confrontation, or first communication we had on that phone call, I didn't know anything about the scene to give him any idea at that point in time, and we never spoke about it again. Mr. Muller and I never spoke about it again.
Okay. I guess from the defense team, was there someone with whom you corresponded more frequently than anyone else?
The paralegal, and that stopped on September 15th.
Okay. About 3 days after your appointment?
The same day I got everything in Dropbox.
Okay. And so, I guess, what insights were you able to glean from your review of the discovery provided?
You mean as far as?
As far as what happened on the night of the incident?
She was absolutely brutally attacked with a hammer. That was obvious, that you could tell by the injuries that it was a hammer. That most of the injuries occurred while she was down low because of the cast-off patterns on the refrigerator. A lot of cast-off patterns in the blood on the cabinets, but most of them were low. A lot of just dripping blood throughout the kitchen floor. So you knew that there was a lot of movement within the kitchen. Didn't tell you who did it.
Okay. How about, maybe not the specific identity of the person, but were you able to glean any physical characteristics of whomever the assailant may have been from your analysis of the crime scene? For instance, of height?
No.
Okay. And how about the two individuals who were at that time alleged to have been in the home? They were Curtis Wainwright and Jimmy Ray Rogers. What information did you have about either of them?
Nothing that wasn't included in the reports that I got.
Okay, so, for instance, their respective physical conditions, any injuries, anything like that, you had no awareness of?
None, no.
Okay. And you mentioned that there was dripping blood splatter throughout the home.
Spatter.
Thank you. Was there, as far as you can recall, any measurements taken of any of the blood spatter? Meaning, the diameter of any of the specific blood drippings, such that you could determine the height from which they fell?
No. Again, I mean, they were marked correctly, but as far as I don't think that any actual blood stain analysis was ever conducted.
Okay. So, I guess, how clear a picture of what you were tasked by the defense team to accomplish did you have?
Again, I'm the old school believer that forensic science is not for the prosecution or the defense. Therefore, I really don't care, and I don't want to know what you want me to tell you, because I don't want to hear it. Let me do my thing, and I will tell you what I find out.
Okay. And I guess, did you find out anything that determined conclusively the number of assailants involved in the incident?
No.
Okay. And How about with respect to the injuries on the deceased? Do you recall their general appearance?
Yes.
Okay, and as far as you can recall, can you describe them?
Most of the damage was impact, blunt force, like half moon that you would see when like half of a hammer makes contact, and that could be either from the way it strikes the surface or the curvature of the skull when it's struck, is why you don't have that full head of the hammer showing. And then a lot of it, you have damage being caused at areas already damaged. So you don't have that half moon shape anymore. Now you've just got more of a crushing because it's already hitting areas that have already been broken.
Okay. Was there anything from what you reviewed that cut conclusively in favor of the defense or the state? Meaning, is there anything that you found that supported, for instance, exonerating Mr. Sievers versus proving conclusively the state's theory?
I mean, the only thing is that he wasn't there. I mean, other than that, as far as the conspiracy, there was nothing that would either confirm or refute.
Okay, so it sounds like, if I understand that, the evidence you reviewed was agnostic as to the presence of a conspiracy because there's just nothing probative to that issue.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Okay. Now, with respect to the information you were provided about Curtis Wayne Wright, I guess, had you received detail or a transcript of a detailed statement he gave describing what happened, would you be able to utilize that to assess the extent to which it's consistent with the crime scene appearance?
It just depends on what he had to say. I mean, he may have come up with something that just didn't fit, or he may have come up with something that was just actually was inconclusive, or you don't know. I can't speculate because I don't know what he said.
Okay. Had you received that, do you think it could have been helpful in guiding your analysis of the crime scene?
It's always helpful.
Yeah. How about what you were provided regarding Curtis Wainwright, the notes someone took from a deposition? How much utility did you gain from that?
The notes were objective, or weren't objective.
Would that be subjective?
Subjective.
All right.
So, as far as I was concerned, what whoever wrote them wrote could have been more of an opinion. Mm-hmm. And I didn't put any validity in it, really, as far as a great deal of what actually occurred. Again, that person was working for the defense, and they could have just as easily been jaded as anybody else. So, unless it's under testimony, under oath, I don't pay a lot of attention to it.
Okay. So, I guess, would it be accurate to characterize Mr. Wainwright's, description of what is supposed to have occurred that night kind of a blind spot for you in your analysis of the crime scene?
Well, I mean, I don't think there were some things that you could use, but I mean, as far as the basis for an opinion, no, I wouldn't begin to use that.
Okay. I could have a moment to confer, Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Those are my questions for now. Thank you much.
Steve.
Good morning, Mr. Thomas.
Good morning, ma'am.
Nice to see you in person.
Nice to see you.
So you reviewed crime scene photographs in this case?
I did.
2,284 of them?
Yes, ma'am.
And you reviewed the deposition transcripts of the medical examiner, is that correct?
Correct.
You reviewed the deposition from the crime scene technician?
I did.
You reviewed a crime scene report?
I did.
You also reviewed notes from the deposition of Curtis Wright.
I did.
You reviewed an FBI lab report.
Well, I think there were several of them. It was 109
Okay.
pages total.
Okay, a 109-page report from the FBI.
Yes, ma'am.
And a deposition of Detective Lebed.
Yes, ma'am.
And a deposition of Detective Downs. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you testified that you spent 47.2 hours on this case reviewing these materials.
Yes, ma'am.
You didn't have anything to offer that would have been helpful to Mr. Sievers' case, did you?
Not, no, I don't believe it. I would.
You have testified in over 100 cases.
Yes, ma'am.
You've been retained in over 1,000 cases.
Easily. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. In this case, after reviewing all of the materials and speaking with the defense attorneys, you noted that there was no evidence actually placing Mark Sievers at the crime scene, right?
And again, I only spoke with the defense attorney that one time, and that was after I had only looked at the first 800 photos, and then we had that phone conversation. I never spoke to him again.
Okay. But after reviewing the evidence that you were provided by them, you weren't able to find anything specifically placing Mark Sievers at the crime scene. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
But you also knew that it was never alleged that he was there when the murders occurred.
Yes, ma'am.
That was never part of the state's case. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. Sorry.
Other than there being no evidence showing that Mark Sievers there when the murder was committed, did you have any other helpful evidence that would have aided the defense?
Yeah, that's a hard answer because I know I didn't get everything that would have been helpful. So based on what I had, I did the best I could with what I had. But would I have liked to have had more of the discovery that they had? Yes.
Did you ask for any additional information?
Again, at that point in time, I didn't know that Mr. Wright had already basically taken some sort of made some sort of agreement. I didn't know that he had given a proffer, so I didn't know any of that stuff. So I didn't know to ask for it because I wasn't told of it.
Okay. You testified that your approach to analyzing a case is to let me do my thing and let me tell you what I find out.
Yes.
So what did you find out from this case?
That she was attacked by allegedly two people. You can't even really confirm that. Just by the attack anyway. That could have been a single person. And that there were pry marks on the side garage door that to me didn't necessarily look like they were pried open. And I knew that the allegation was, or that the theory was that this all occurred as a burglary or a robbery, but yet all these things were left out in the open, and that didn't fit to me either. So my theory is didn't necessarily, because I was told that they believed, or that they were relayed to me that the state's theory was this happened based on a robbery, per what they found out during the interviews of the defendants.
Okay. But you found nothing to confirm or refute that there was a conspiracy between Mark Sievers and the people who actually physically committed the murder?
No, ma'am, I did not.
If you had any additional information that would have been helpful to Mr. Sievers, you would have provided it to his defense team. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
May I have a moment, Your Honor?
Yes, ma'am.
In reviewing Curtis's rights notes, you did glean that he admitted to committing the murder in this case. Is that correct?
That he was involved in it, yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you never asked for the physical transcripts from the deposition?
I was told that that's all they had, that they never got the deposition transcript because it was so late in the game, and that's all that she had.
Okay. Is it fair to say, though, at the time you weren't going to lean one way or another on be influenced by what any one person was saying happened? You were going to do your own independent research and come to your own conclusion?
Yes, ma'am.
No further questions.
Defense.
Is this witness to be released or retained? Agree?
Yes, Your Honor.
You're free to go. Thank you, sir. Next witness.
Mr. Bob Trussell.